Ticket Machine is the official ticket broker of Spartan Nation. No matter what you need a ticket for, border to border, coast to coast, the Ticket Machine is your ticket source. So whether you need to get into the hottest concerts, the best sporting events, you want the best seats in the house, or you just want to get in the door, when you want to go to any event that requires a ticket, anywhere, border to border, coast to coast, it's always theticketmachine.com. Theticketmachine.com, 517-655-3201. Check it out today at theticketmachine.com.
Welcome back, Spartan Nation. Now we go in and talk to Coach Chuck Grenier, legendary State of Michigan high school football prep coach. He's been a longtime contributor to Spartan Nation. He is so good at what he does. We love having him in. We always have him in talking the good, the bad, and the ugly, whether it's Spartan football, Spartan basketball. We're talking Spartan basketball. Big game with Maryland tonight. They go on the road to a raucous Pinnacle Bank in Nebraska. Without Arns, without Joshua Langford, and still just continue to win. In my opinion, the win at Nebraska was the most impressive win of the season for the Spartans. Let's bring him in. Coach, what are your thoughts, buddy?
I thought so, too. I mean, you're down two players, two key players, a lot of points with Joshua Langford. And you go into a very, very hostile arena. I mean, that place was rocking the other night when they played Nebraska. And Nebraska is a fine team, a really good team. They've got some outstanding players, Roby. And to go in there and to take that win, and I don't know if anybody's really thinking about this. They've been into Maryland and won. They went into Ohio State and they won. They went into Nebraska and they won. Those are some big-time wins for the Spartan program. And again, this goes back to that idea of, is this a more talented team than last year? No, but is this a better team than last year? And I have to say yes, because they just play so well together.
Coach, what impresses you most about this team?
Well, it doesn't rely on anybody per se, except maybe Winston. And Winston is unique, I think, because unique in a way that he can turn it on and be the star, and then turn it off and let other people play and get their game going. And like this is what happened in Nebraska. And then come back later, and when the game's on the line, turn it back on again and take over the game. So I think this is just a better all-around team, and the way that you have Winston on the floor directing the attack and in control, it's really something to see.
I totally agree with you, Coach. I want to, Winston, to me, I don't think there's any doubt. I think he's the best player in the Big Ten, and I think he has to be in the argument for one of the best players in America. Agree or disagree?
Well, I agree. He's an interesting guy to watch play, because you watch him out there, and it doesn't look like he's strong enough to do the things he does. Doesn't look like he's that quick either, but he's really deceptive in his speed. He has great hesitation. He just has so many tools that he could rely on. He's come so far in the 2.5 years that he's been at Michigan State. He's definitely All-American.
Totally agree with you. No argument for me. He is the absolute real deal. Coach, I want to ask you, this game tonight with Maryland is huge for a lot of reasons. This is a really good Maryland team. A loss here, down two players, would not shock me for Michigan State. But if somehow this team can just continue to win in the Big Ten, how exciting is this looking ahead to Michigan State?
Oh, yeah, and I like the word that you use, somehow win, because I think this is one of those basketball teams that somehow pull things together and win. And this is another big time game for them. Seems like they just rise to the occasion. I really like this basketball team, and I wish them well tonight.
Coach, for you, what's been the funnest part of the season to watch?
The basketball team, yeah. It's. I'm an old-fashioned coach that believes in hustle, and this team just hustles, and I believe that if you work hard, you do things right, and you hustle, things will work out well for you. And this team, I think, exemplifies that. They just work.
Coach, I've got to ask you this question because it's an important one. And I know that Tom Izzo, for the interest of full disclosure, who is a good friend of mine, feels the same way, but I want to get your perspective. A lot of people saying that this year's team is better than last, and I know that you said that, but I know what you meant. Last year's team had more talent, but those guys were brutalized by the fake news media that was attacking Michigan State every week. They were attacking them. They were ambushing them in the locker rooms. I don't think it's fair to judge last year's team without an asterisk for what they went through. That just was not fair. Am I being a homer and overprotective, or am I telling the truth?
Well, I think we lose perspective. A lot of the media loses perspective. People lose perspective. You know, these like last year's team, they could jump out of the gym, they could run, they could do all that stuff. But when you boil it all down, they're 19-year-old kids, and so they may be able to bounce the ball and shoot the ball well, but they're still 19-year-old kids, 20-year-old kids, and there's so much that you could put on their plate without it affecting them. And then if you overdo it, then these kids are just unable, maturity-wise, in their thinking and their history, to put some things aside. So being brutalized last year and being everybody at Michigan State in connection with Nassar, that, it was an awful lot for those kids to handle. So, yeah, it is a major distraction, and they are kids. And this year's team, they don't have that worry. Obviously, they're not as talented, but they do play so well together. I hope I've answered your question on that.
You have. Coach, for you, I don't think there's any argument. The two best teams in the Big Ten are Michigan State and Michigan. Do you agree or disagree?
I pretty much agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. What are the keys to Michigan State being able to finish and win the regular season title? In your opinion, if you're sitting there analyzing this team, what do they got to do?
Continue to play together. Get healthy. Number one probably would be get healthy. Continue to play together. And I think that's all they have to do. I think Michigan is a really fine team. Might be a little bit more. I don't know how, when they look what they went to Wisconsin this weekend, and they lost that game at Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is not the Wisconsin of the past. And I think Michigan State needs to just continue to play solid team basketball like they have been. Get the support from the bench that they have been. And the glue people, the Tillman, the Goins, those people continue to play hard and be relied on. I think Michigan State has an excellent chance of taking on Michigan in both games and winning those games. It's just a great thing to watch that Izzo has produced this year. The kids are behind him, and they just do exactly as he's asking them to do. I think this team is going to be really a fun team to watch right up deep into March.
Okay, got a couple emails from the listeners for you, Coach. We've never done this. Do you mind taking some emails from the listeners?
Go ahead.
Amanda wants to know, Hondo, could you ask Coach next time he's on for the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly about Spartan basketball? Does he think Coach Izzo's changed? It seems that way to me, and I know that you say it, and I can see it in his personality, but does he think he's changed as an on-court coach?
I definitely think so. You watch him on there, and there's multiple times I think in the past there would have been eruptions on the sideline, and it just doesn't happen. And I can, looking back at the Michigan State basketball games right now from the beginning of the season to the last game, and I can only remember a couple times seeing the veins in his neck pop out, if you want to put it that way. And I think he has changed considerably. I think there's a lot to do with the kids on his basketball team right now, because you see outstanding senior leadership. You see outstanding leadership on the floor by Winston. And I see the progress of some of the freshmen at this time coming along. And those glue people that he puts in there, like Xavier Tillman and Goins, those guys, Aarons, that go in there, and they just play hard. They play within themselves. They play within the team concept. And there's really no reason for him to get overexcited on the sideline he's just, I think he's just happy as heck, just out there, just directing this juggernaut that's going on right now.
Last email, we got 30 seconds, but it comes from Tim. Tim says, Hondo, can you ask Coach, when does he predict Spartans lose their first Big Ten game?
Well, I don't know. I would hate to do that to this team. I would hate to predict that they're going to lose. I think they could sweep the Big Ten Conference, to tell you the truth. If anything, I would think them going to Michigan is going to be a real tough game because they'll have the Michigan players will have their support, and they're in their own arena. So if they're going to win or lose a game this year, I would suspect that it would be at Michigan.
Coach, I love you, and I love this team, but I disagree with you. I think it'll be before then, but I still think they'll win the Big Ten regular season. He is the great Coach Chuck Grenier. Know him, love him, appreciate him. I'm going to tell you how special this guy is. When people need to get pregnant, their wives are having problems either with fertility or their husband, they hang his jeans on the end of the bed. We'll be back.